My name is Jenny. This is a core and restore class. So props are your friend. I am an advocate of props. So today our theme that we're working with is moving with balance. And so as far as props go, you are maybe going to want a smaller blanket for some cushion. As you can see, I'm sitting on one, just adding a little lift to the booty. We'll be on the knees, so we want to pad the knees a little bit. You'll also probably want to have a block or two in some of the transition movements that we're going to be doing. This is nice just to bring the ground a little closer. So if you don't have blocks or a block, you can grab books, anything similar size and shape, just to kind of bring the ground a little closer, or sometimes to fill in some space between you and the ground. Blankets of other sizes will be great, especially once we get into the restorative part. Just to bring, again, in some support. You can wrap up in your blanket during Shavasana. And then maybe if you have meditation cushions or a bolster, that can come in handy. But if you don't, maybe grab, a couch cushion, a stack of pillows, anything similar to that, so that we have those props on hand. Don't be afraid to use them. I think props get a bad rap sometimes that, it's just for beginners, or that it means that, you're not pushing yourself far enough or hard enough, and that eventually you need to not use any props. That's a lie. Props are your friend. And for today, since we're going to be working on some balance, some standing balancing, it might not be a bad idea, especially if maybe this is a place where you're working to build that strength and that balance, to maybe bring in a chair, be near a wall, something with a ledge, maybe the end table or a couch or something like that, to where you can maybe reach out. It's with balance, it's not a bad thing to reach out for help when you're trying to search for balance. And of course, I always try to have themes of classes that, well, not only just me, just in yoga in general, there tends to be this theme that connects, what we do, what we practice on our mat and taking it off our mat. So balance is a very important thing, not just, physically to have that ability to balance, but to bring and cultivate balance into our lives. How we balance our work and home life, how, we balance our, desires with, what we're in our values with, how we're living our lives, those sort of things. And one thing to remember about balance is that, I've got a little tidbit written down in one of my yoga journals, is that balance isn't something that you achieve and hold on to. It's not something like, once you're there, cool, I'm balanced, I'm done, like, that's it, I'm forever balanced. It's more fleeting than that. It doesn't last as long as maybe we would like it to. So it's more of a string of temporary successes held together momentarily, lost, and then discovered again. And one important thing to remember with balance is to, when you lose it, to have faith that it will come back to you, and have that faith be rooted in your belief in yourself, in your mindful practices, in the things that, in knowing what you need to bring balance into your life, to kind of help bring that awareness into, when you are out of balance, what can you do to help bring that back? So through our physical practice today, we're going to be taking it a little, well, not slow, but we're going to be really mindfully engaging. So we've heard that term before if you've been practicing with me. A few weeks ago, we did a mindful engagement, and balance isn't just something that we use in standing poses when we're standing still, but also through transition, through movement. So that's kind of the theme, is moving with balance. So let's jump into it. We'll start nice and seated, just for a few rounds of breath, just to kind of get grounded. So find a strong, solid seated position. If you have a chair, you're welcome to sit in a chair, or sit on the ground. Again, it's nice to bring a little lift in the booty. That just creates a little more space in the hips and the pelvis and the low back. What we want to achieve is a nice tall spine. grounding down towards the sit bones, lengthening out through the crown of the head, softening the face, softening the shoulders. Feel free to shake it out, get any jitters out, any movements, and then try to settle into some stillness. You're welcome to close the eyes or just simply soften the gaze. Starting to focus on the breath. Working to draw the breath in and out of the nose. But if at any point it feels right to send a sigh out of the mouth, definitely take that. And know that as we move through this practice, as always, I try to give lots of different options for you to explore. And this is not to overwhelm you. Part of it is because I can't see your practice, so I can't, make adjustments and give, little cues to maybe help with your practice. So I want, my goal is to make this yoga practice accessible to everyone on all levels. So I will be giving lots of different options. Don't feel like it's ranked good, better, best, or, beginning, intermediate, advanced. Just do what feels right for you. Use a combination of the options. Just explore and know that what is right for you is going to be different than what is right for me. And that the goal is to really just tune in and make this practice whatever you need it to be. Beautiful work. We'll start to bring some movement, linking it to the breath as you release the arms down alongside the body. Reestablish that nice tall length through the spine. On your next inhale, send the arms out to the side. Start to raise them up towards the sky, just as high as feels okay. Bring the hands to prayer. On exhale, lower prayer hands down to heart center. On your next inhale, prayer hands reach back up towards the sky. And exhale, release the hands down alongside the body. We'll just take 2 more rounds like that. Inhale, reaching arms out and up. Exhale, lower prayer hands down towards heart center. Inhale, prayer hands back up towards the sky. And exhale, release the hands down. One more. Inhale, arms out and up. Prayer hands meet. Exhale, lower hands down, heart center. Inhale, prayer hands reach back up towards the sky. Exhale, release the hands down. Plant the right hand on the ground, maybe even on a block. Inhale, reach that left arm up and over. Find that nice deep side stretch. Sits bones are rooted. Hips and booty are connected to the ground. Maybe you lower down to the elbow. Maybe not. Awesome work. Inhale, come back up through center, releasing left hand down towards the ground. Exhale, reach the right arm up and over. Again, sits bones stay grounded. Maybe lowering to the elbow if you can keep the hips connected, but not necessary. Breathe into that space you're creating. Awesome work. Inhale, come back up through center. We'll just take this side to side. Exhale, arch to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, arch to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, arch right. Inhale, center. Exhale, arch to the left. One more each side. Inhale, center. Exhale, open side body stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale, side body stretch. Awesome work. Inhale, back up through center. Exhale, drop the chin down towards the chest. Inhale, roll the head over towards the right. Exhale, chin down towards the chest. Inhale, rock the head over towards the left. Exhale, chin towards chest. Inhale, head to the right. And exhale, chin down towards chest. Inhale, head rolls to the left. Exhale, chin towards chest. Inhale, raise the head up, raise the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, roll them back and down. 2 more. Inhale, shoulders reach up. And exhale, lower. Last one, inhale, shoulders raise. And exhale, lower. Awesome work, nice and warmed up a little bit. We're gonna come to a tabletop pose here. So you're gonna want a little padding. So I've got my little blanket folded up. You can double up on the mat. And your knees will thank you. Even if you don't have knee issues now, just go ahead and give yourself a little padding. Spread out through the hands. Find whatever position for the hands works for you. It could be shoulders underneath the wrist. Hands could be forward, they could be out wide. You could rotate through the fingers. Just find what feels good so that you can find a solid connection down towards the hands, spreading out through the fingers, pressing fingerprints into the mat. Lengthen out through the tailbone. The gaze is towards the ground, so the neck is nice and long. And then we're drawing the belly in. So we're not dropping the belly down, we're not creating this arch here, but we're drawing that belly in towards the spine, hugging the ribs in so we've got a nice neutral spine. Awesome work. Find that deep core engagement, so maybe hug the ribs in even more. And then we're going to take a little bird dog, but we'll take it nice and slow. So if you'd like, one option is to just extend the right hand forward, left toes back, keeping the fingers and the toes on the ground. And then exhale to bring them back together. Inhale, extend. Exhale towards neutral. If you want, you could hover, maybe just the fingers, toes staying on the ground. Or you could just extend or lift the left toes and keep the fingers on the ground. If you can maintain this nice length in the spine and the engagement in the core, maybe both limbs raise. And on the exhale, if you'd like a little more core activation, bring the elbow and knee together. So we're exploring this movement through bird dog, having that core fully engaged. And your choice, if the limbs are hovering, if the toes are on the ground, if the fingers are on the ground. Really press into that left hand and right knee. Try to evenly distribute that weight. Try not to shift through the shoulders or through the hips. Keep that spine nice and long. Inhale, reach. Exhale, return down. Awesome work. Let's take it to the other side. So on the inhale, extending the left hand out, fingertips stay on the ground. And the right toes extend, right leg extends, right toes stay on the ground. And exhale, bring it back to neutral. Inhale, extend. And exhale, neutral. Now again, if you'd like, you can maybe raise the fingers and bring the elbow in. You could have the fingers stay on the ground and perhaps just raise the toes. Or you could raise hand and foot, maybe bringing elbow and knee together. So find whatever level works for you on this side. Stay nice and engaged, gaze towards the ground. We're pressing evenly into the right hand, spreading out through those fingers. We're not shifting through the hips. Core is engaged. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, drawing it in. And feel free to explore any of those options, combining them, making them your own. And note that if that leg is extending, we're not lifting the hip, or we're not lifting the foot higher than the hip, forcing us to drop the belly down. We're staying nice and neutral. Awesome work. Let's do one last one. Inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, release down to neutral. Plant the hands nice and firm. Spread them out. We're going to prop the toes. Belly is drawing in. We've got still that nice long spine, gaze towards the ground. We'll start to press into the hands, straightening through the arms, and shift the weight into the back feet. We're going to root through the heels and start to hover the knees. Coming through a bear pose, then lift the hips, downward dog. Head comes between the biceps, chest shifts towards the thighs. Keep a soft bend in the knees as the heels root down towards the ground, but don't feel like they need to touch. Beautiful work. When you're ready here, we're just going to step the right foot between the hands. So you can lower the knees down and step that foot, or you could come forward through plank, stepping the right foot down. You're welcome to either stay in this low lunge or lower the back knee down. And this is where a prop might come in handy, or a block. A block or two, kind of bringing the ground closer here. Now from this, we're going to work on a little bit of transition. But we want to have a nice solid base. So we're rooting down towards that front foot. All four corners of that front foot are pressing in. We're going to bring the left hand either to a block or towards the ground. We're going to find a twisted lunge here. So we're going to inhale to lengthen through the spine. Right hand comes to right knee. Again, that back knee is down or it's lifted and engaged. On the exhale, we'll start to turn the chest over towards the right knee. Hand could stay there. It could reach back. It could reach up. So we're either down in our twisted lunge with the back knee down, or a little more active with that back knee lifted. Now, even though we're twisted, that core is engaged. Right hip is drawing back, left hip shifting forward, and the thighs are squeezing together. Now this transition, I'll show it first with the knee down. We're going to cartwheel the arms open to a warrior two. So with the knee down, you can circle that right arm down, left arm comes up. Staying on the knee, we're going to pivot the left heel in and open up to warrior two. So I'll do that from the front here. So we're in our twisted lunge, cartwheeling the hands, pivot that knee, open up to this version of warrior two. So it'll look like this. With the back knee raised in our twist. Twisted lunge, and we'll again windmill the arms. Pivot that back heel down and open up to warrior two. So again, front view. And then we'll just reverse that. So cartwheeling the hands back down. Back heel lifts up as you windmill the arms. Or if you're taking it with that knee down, cartwheeling the hands, turning on that knee, and returning back to your twisted lunge. So we're going to play with this for a few rounds of breath. Find that engagement, press down towards the feet, engage in the core, finding that balance through movement, and know that if you fall out, that's okay, that's part of life. Awesome work. And we're working with the knee down as we windmill through, or the knee raised. Awesome work. Just go ahead and wrap up your exploration, and we'll meet in a lunge. So you may want to move your blanket out of the way here. And from this lunge, you're welcome to really narrow the stance as far as the space between the feet. So you can maybe just be, foot and a half apart, be a little wider. But we're raising up that back heel, rooting down towards the feet, and make sure that the feet are wide enough that you feel like you got a nice solid stance here. Right hip draws back, left hip shifts forward, squeeze those inner thighs together so we've got this full engagement here. This is also where using a wall or a ledge, or maybe having a chair in front of you to hold on to might come in handy. Hands on hips, or doing whatever that you need for a little counterbalance here. And what we're going to be working on is stepping forward and coming into a standing staff. So one way that you can do this is keep that toe on the ground, the back toe, really root down towards that front foot, shift the weight forward, drag the back toe, come to standing with that heel lifted, toe on the ground. And then we'll just send it back. So again, that's one option to keep the toe connected to the earth. So the front view. You could also raise the toe, coming into full standing staff. So from that lunge, maybe lifting that back foot and coming up, raising the knee. We keep that right knee nice and soft, but we're rooting down towards that foot, so staying nice and connected. Breathing. So that toe can stay connected. Sliding along your mat, still working those stabilizing muscles, still finding that balance. And you can have the hand on a wall, on a ledge, on a couch, on a chair, anything for support. Awesome, let's take one more. And we'll meet in mountain pose, so just nice standing. And let's take our time here to really connect down to the feet. Press into all corners of the feet. Lift up through the toes, spread them out, and then set them down. And then lift through the arches of the feet. Ooh, feel that activation there. Awesome work. Working our way up, we're gonna soften through the knees. There's a slight tilt through the pelvis. So we're not, scooping all the way forward, and we're not duck butting it out. There's just a little scoop there. Shoulders stacked over hips, lengthen through the spine. Awesome work. From here, just like we did in the beginning, we're going to inhale to reach the arms out and up, and as we do, bend the knees, lower the hips, just as far as feels okay. And then exhale, release the arms, press into the feet, raise back up. Inhale, arms out, knees bend. And exhale, raise back up. Now your choice how deeply you bend the knees. You could bring the knees down, the hips all the way down to a 90-degree angle. Or you could just bring a little slight bend in the knees. Awesome work. Now we don't want the knees to come past the toes. So we're shifting the weight back. We're still planted, you're still rooting down towards the feet. But we're using, we've got some space between our ankles and our toes to work with. Tuning into the spine, notice if it feels best to have your chest raised, and as you lower the hips, bringing in a little bit of back bending. Or if it feels better to kind of hinge a little more and extend through the spine, hovering the chest. Awesome work. Last one. Inhale, lower to chair. Exhale, raise back up to mountain. Beautiful. Hands to the hips. Now, we're going to prop the left toes. We're going to keep working that same leg. So we're going to play here with opening up towards starting to kind of set up a tree pose. So we're going to root down towards that right foot, find that solid connection without shifting too much in the weight through the hips. Just kind of kickstand that left toe or the left heel. Awesome work. Now from here, we're going to bring an external rotation to open up that left knee. And then close it in. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. If you'd like, hover that foot. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Keep that right knee, that stabilizing knee soft. Hands again doing whatever you'd like. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. We're not swinging through the hips. We're not using momentum here. Whew, throwing my balance off. But we are moving with control, engaging in that core, working those stabilizing muscles. Awesome. Let's do one more. Open and close. Now we're going to take a few rounds of breath in our tree pose. So with that knee open, the toes could stay kickstand, heel resting on the leg. You could start to plug that foot into the calf, or you could plug it into the upper inner thigh. Now when I say plugging it in, we're pressing the foot and the leg evenly. So the foot's pressing into the leg is pressing back into the foot. And because of that plugging in, that's why we don't want to put the foot directly on the knee, on that knee joint. That plugging in action isn't safe for the knee. So we're kind of using that force, that evenly pressing together to kind of help find a little more stability. Root down towards that right foot, that right leg might be burning. Hands doing whatever you'd like for counterbalance. La, 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 la. Awesome work. Whew. Beautiful. Find your breath. If you fall out, just turn the sides of your mouth up and laugh it off and just jump right back in. All right, now from here, we're going to combine some of those movements to take it back down towards the ground. So we're in our tree pose, whatever that looks like for you. We're going to close the knee. If the foot was extended, put the foot on the ground. And then we're going to step that foot back. So your choice, again, if you want to drag that toe back, or if you want to hover the foot, stepping back into our low lunge. Inhale to lengthen, maybe both arms reach up. Exhale, open up to warrior two. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down to our twisted lunge. Hand comes to the ground or to a block. Nice deep inhale here, that back knee could lower. Exhale, release, right hand down. We're going to draw the right foot back either through plank or lowering the knees down to half plank. Elbows draw in, nice and slow, lower the belly down towards the ground. Either hover or release all the way down. Inhale, lift the head and shoulders in a cobra or upward dog. And exhale, send it back. Downward dog. Awesome work. We'll take that little series on the other side, and then we'll get into our restore part. So take a few rounds of breath in downward dog. You could pedal out through the feet. You could shake the head, yes and no. You could bounce through the heels, maybe shaking through the pelvis. You can always lower the knees as you lower the chest into puppy pose. Nice, another option for your downward dog. Awesome work. Now when you're ready, we're going to step that left foot forward. Bringing in that little support for the knees if you plan to have that knee lowered for our twisted lunge to warrior two variation. And having that block there, or maybe even two blocks to bring the ground closer. So as we start to set up our twisted lunge, we're going to bring the right hand to a block or towards the ground, and maybe even step it out a little bit, just creating more space here for the belly, for the chest, and to find the twist. Inhale, lengthening through the spine, left hand to left knee, and that back knee could be down. Take that nice deep inhale. On the exhale, we'll slowly start to twist, so the heart turns towards the left knee. Left hand could stay on the left knee, it could reach back, it could reach up. And then we'll take that twist, we're in the twist, unravel the twist and transition into our warrior two. So if that back knee is down, we're going to windmill the left hand comes down, right arm reaches up, windmill. As we pivot on the knee, bringing that left heel inside, opening up to our warrior two variation, and then windmilling the hands back, pivoting back on the heel, and returning to our twisted lunge. So that is one option. Or with the back knee raised, raising up, windmilling the arms, pivoting back, heel down, warrior two. If you've practiced with me before, we may have done this. This is a fun transition that I like to play with. Remember to root down towards the feet, engage in the core, engage in the hips to help find that balance through movement. And even as we practice balance in our daily, in our yoga practice, it's going to change from practice to practice. There's a few different sayings out there. Sometimes you're going to feel like a graceful ballerina in your practice, and sometimes you're going to feel like a baby giraffe just learning how to walk. So just know that however you are showing up today is what it's meant to be. Keep checking in and work with what you got going on. Awesome work. We're going to come back, or we're going to meet in a high lunge. So we're rooting down towards that front foot, all four corners pressing in. We're rooting back through that back heel. And again, it's your choice, the distance between the feet. And we're gonna transition from our lunge to a standing staff. So hands can be on the hips or doing whatever you need for counterbalance. Engage in the core, root down towards that front foot. Inhale, start to shift the weight forward. Maybe the foot drags. As you come up, you could keep that toe down. And then exhale, send it back. So this is one way to help build the strength, the stabilization, to bring in a little more balance. Again, this is where you could use a wall, a ledge, a couch. And maybe you want to hover the toe, maybe coming up to full standing staff. Maybe keeping that foot extended as you reach back towards your lunge. So we're utilizing the strength in that left leg, keeping a nice soft bend in the knee, even if you're raising up to a standing staff. And don't just rush through it. Take your time. Really stay in that lunge. Maybe take a breath in your standing pose. Beautiful work. Let's just take one more. So from the lunge, coming up to standing staff, stepping the foot down, setting up mountain pose, maybe shaking out through the legs. Whew. Start to feel that. All right. Again, find that solid connection down to the feet. Lift up through the toes, spread them out, set them back down. Soften the knees, lift through the arches of the feet. There's that slight tuck of the tailbone just to kind of neutralize through the pelvis. So imagine like the pelvis is like a bowl. And if we're duck-butted out, that bowl's gonna spill water to the front. If we're too tucked under, that bowl's gonna spill water out the back. So we wanna kind of have a nice even bowl and even pelvis here. Excuse me. All right, so we've got this nice soft bend in our mountain pose. We're gonna take it down to chair pose. So inhale, arms out to the side as you bend the knees, lower the hips down. And exhale, press into the feet, raise back up. Awesome work. It's your choice how far apart the feet are. Find what works best for you to find that balance, to find stability. Exhale, raise it up. And your choice how deep you're taking this or not. And your choice if you're bringing in that gentle back bending by having the chest stay lifted and forward. Or if you're keeping the spine nice and straight, allowing the chest to bow forward towards the thighs. Building up some muscles in the legs, building up some strength in the heels and in the feet. Beautiful work. This round, if you want A little added challenge. Maybe raise the heels up as you lower down. Ooh, that steps it up a notch. Awesome work. Let's just do one more. Inhale, arms out, knees bend, lower down. And exhale. Raise back up. Awesome work. Now, we are going to play with tree pose. So rooting down towards that left foot. Get that nice solid connection, stable through the hips. That the pelvis bowl is nice and level. Without shifting through the hips, we're going to raise the right heel coming up on the ball of the right foot. We're going to work with that external rotation that we need to get into our tree pose. So you can keep the ball of the foot on the ground and then just inhale to open up that right knee, getting that external rotation, and exhale to bring it back. Inhale to open, exhale, bring it back. If you want, take it from standing staff with that foot hovering. Inhaling to open, exhaling to bring it back. You could even open and bring the toe down and then bring it back in. So know that you've got all those options. You could also bring in that, a wall, a chair, some sort of ledge to hang on to as we work with this balancing pose. If the right foot is lifted, keep it active, flex it back. And notice that we're not swinging a lot through the hips. We're not using momentum to swing that leg open. We're using control. So don't worry about how open that leg is coming. I've got notoriously tight hips, so my knee doesn't come very far. It's definitely not 90 degrees. And that is a-okay. Work with what you got. Beautiful work. One more. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to close. Beautiful work. Now let's lower the foot down if it was raised. Inhale, open up that knee. We're going to take tree pose. So you could stay here with the toes kickstand. You've got the right toes down. Maybe you plug the heel in kind of around the ankle area. And not a full plug in. Just kind of resting it. You could also raise the foot up towards the calf shin area. You could also bring it in to that upper thigh, inner upper thigh. Now again, we've got that plugging in, so the foot is pressing into the leg is pressing back into the foot. That's why we want to avoid the foot near the knee. You could also take this by not plugging in and just kind of hovering, but that takes a little bit more balance, a little more stability. So your choice, how you want to take your tree on this side. Again, arms can be, expressing themselves. They could be, branches blowing in the wind. They could be counterbalance. This round, little bonus challenge if you want. I shouldn't say bonus. An extra challenge if you want it. I don't want to say bonus because I don't want you to think that you have to do it. Close the eyes. Oh, yeah. If you think you have pretty good balance, try doing it with your eyes closed. And remember, yoga is a very powerful practice, but it doesn't have to be serious. So it's inherently awkward. It's, contorting our bodies into different shapes that you don't see in everyday life. So don't be afraid to laugh. Don't be afraid to, embrace that we all might look a little foolish. Let it be weird. Let it be what it is. Beautiful work. Now just to transition out of this to get into our restore part from our tree, we're going to close the door with the knee, either from standing staff or with the toe on the ground. We're going to step that foot back through our high lunge. Inhale to lengthen, arms could reach up. Exhale, open up, warrior two, back heel pivots down. Awesome work. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, we're going to cartwheel the hands down towards our twisted lunge. Hand comes to a block or towards the ground. That back knee could lower. Inhale to extend through the spine. Exhale, release the left hand down, and that back knee could drop as we draw the left foot back, either in plank or lowering the knees from half plank. Elbows draw together, core engaged. On an exhale, lower down to a push-up or all the way to the belly. Inhale, raise the head and chest up to cobra or upward dog. And exhale, send the hips back. Downward dog. Take a few rounds of breath here if that feels good for you. Again, maybe pedaling through the feet, shaking out through or bouncing the heels up and down, shaking out through the pelvis. Maybe nodding the head yes and no. And then when it feels right for you, from that strength in the core, lengthen the spine. We're still pressing the ground away. We're going to start to lower the knees down. The chest comes through the shoulders so that we're coming through our bear pose. And then nice and slow, setting the hips down. Untuck through the toes, send the hips back to a child's pose. Or leave the hips raised as you lower the chest down into puppy pose if that feels better. We'll take about 5 rounds of breath in our child's pose. If that bend is pretty extreme, like I said, you can use puppy pose. You could also bring in, maybe your smaller blanket or a thicker blanket, bolster cushions, anything like that to kind of pad behind the knees. That can also be a nice option. Or to, again, kneel on that blanket to have the kneecaps. Arms extending overhead as the head and chest lower towards the ground. They don't need to touch. If it feels good to continue to have the arms extended like this, feel free to stay there. Another option is you could turn the palms up, which allows the tops of the shoulders to roll down, or to basically kind of roll out, and it finds a little opening and release between the shoulder blades. So that might be a nice way to release into this. And you don't even need to keep the arms extended forward. You could also bring them back, maybe palms turned up, reaching back for the feet. Or any other variation with the arms that feels good here. Allowing time for that body to rest. If you joined me last week when we talked about, the flow zone or flow state, 2 of the 4 steps of that is rest, taking a break, allowing time for, all the work that we've just done to kind of integrate and work into the body. Time to allow any, mental, emotional struggles to kind of process and release. So rest is one of those underrated things that is so essential to our survival. It's one of those basic needs that everyone needs. And our society doesn't really emphasize rest. It actually almost demonizes it. It makes us feel like we have to constantly go and do and produce and consume, and there's no time for rest. One of my favorite sayings is, along with yoga, is the breath is medicine for the mind. The movement is medicine for the body. And rest is medicine for the soul. So feed your soul. With that, the good stuff. Awesome work. When you're ready, we'll slowly make our way up and out of our child's pose. And we'll just shift onto the sit bones. Extend the legs out. Maybe shake out through the legs. That feels good. We're going to take a really gentle forward fold here. We won't be here for too long. So bending the knees, planting the feet. This is one of my favorite ways to take a forward fold because it's like giving yourself a little hug. So we're going to wrap our arms. We're going to lower the chest down towards the thighs, and then we're going to bring the arms underneath the legs. Maybe the hands meet, maybe maybe hands interlace, maybe you grab opposite wrists or forearms or elbows. And then we want to be able to tuck the chin in and kind of rest the head down. So very gentle here. And if it feels like something that would feel good in your body to maybe take this forward fold a little further, you can start to walk the heels forward. Getting a little more straightening through the legs, but keep the chest connected to the thighs. Keep the head resting down. And you don't have to, grab the arms underneath. You could just let the arms kind of hang out, but we're bringing them underneath the knees to kind of help find that release through the upper back, through the shoulders, a very typical place where we store all the tension. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. Just let that all go. Beautiful work. Let's take about 3 more rounds of breath here. As you feel ready, release the arms, bring them alongside the body. Use the hands to press back as you start to raise back up. And go ahead and remove anything that you're sitting on. And then we're just going to take it down to the ground. So allowing yourself to lie back, keep the knees bent. Keep the feet planted on the floor. Awesome work. Now from here, the knees bent, we'll take a figure 4. So we're going to extend the right leg up towards the sky, flex the toes back, and then we're going to take that external rotation like we had in our tree pose, but we're going to take it with the whole leg, so turn the right toes out towards the right, so that the thigh, the knee, the toes, the whole leg is externally rotating. Then we're going to bend in that right knee, crossing the right ankle on top of the left knee. And then let that right knee open up towards the right a little bit more. You're welcome to stay here. You could bring the right hand to the right thigh and gently press it open. If you're maybe desiring a little more sensation, you can start to raise that left knee towards the chest. You could place that left foot on a block, on a stack of books, something to make this pose a little more passive. You could also interlace the hands behind the left knee, and if you take that option, flex the left toes back. Our right toes are still flexed back, nice and active. And then a few more options to explore, maybe a little gentle rocking side to side. You could continue to draw the left knee towards the left shoulder. You could also bring the right elbow to the right knee and gently press it open. So figure 4 or reclined pigeon. This is a nice gentle way to get that deep hip stretch, a little bit of love for the hip flexor. You could extend that left leg up. Lots of options to explore. Find what works for you. Stay connected to the breath. or so more rounds of breath here. That left foot is raised, maybe rolling out through the ankle since we did some work on the feet. Spreading out through the toes. Awesome. Then when you feel ready, if that left foot was raised, lowering it back down towards the ground. Crossing and extending that right leg back up towards the sky, maybe shake it out. And then stepping the right foot down. If it would feel good between sides, step the feet out wider than hip distance and let the knees drop side to side, little windshield wiper. Or if there's any other movements between sides that would feel good for you, feel free to take that. Now when you're ready, walking those feet back in towards center. Feet are about hip distance. Knees bent, feet planted on the floor. We're going to extend the left leg up towards the sky. Flex the toes back, keep them flexing. And then get that external rotation, so turn the toes and the knee out towards the left so that that whole leg is turning out towards the left. Bend left knee, cross the ankle over the right knee, and allow that left knee to open up more towards the left. And then you've got all those options. You could stay here. This could be your pose. This feels awesome. You could bring the left hand to the left thigh to press that open. You could draw the right knee towards the chest, placing that right foot on a prop, or interlacing the hands behind the knee. If that right foot is raised, flex the toes back. And then you could, if it feels good, gentle rocking side to side, left elbow to left knee to gently press it open, or the right knee could continue to draw towards the right shoulder. Find what works on this side. Again, we work both sides to bring balance, but we don't treat both sides as identical. There are imbalances in the body, and one of our goals of yoga is to discover what those imbalances are. We first need to identify those, and then kind of dig a little deeper of why they exist, why they're there. Because sometimes it's just our holding patterns. Sometimes it's just our habitual responses. It's something that we can change. Something that maybe with a little bit of work and attention, we can start to bring a little more balance into that aspect of our practice. Sometimes it's going to be, just the way we're built, just the way we are. And those are things that we can't change. So we learn to accept those and to work with those things to help find that balance within our body. And of course, all of that I just said could be applied to any aspect of your life off the mat. To identify what those imbalances are, and to figure out if it's something that you can work with to change, or something to work with to embrace. And it's going to change every single time you step on your mat. It's going to change constantly in your life. Like I said, balance is not something that you attain and then you keep it, you have it, it's yours forever. It's that series of little wins of continuing to recalibrate and recalculate with all this new information, with all the changes that are going on inside and outside of you. And there are little things that you can work on through mindfulness to build the strength and stability in the body, strength and stability in the mind, strength and stability in the heart, so that, you know, when your equilibrium is thrown off, when the scales are thrown off, it doesn't take as much to get back to that balance. A few more rounds of breath here. Release any tension in the neck or shoulders. And when you feel ready, if that right foot's raised, release it down. Extend the left foot up towards the sky, maybe shake it out. If it feels good, raise that right leg back up and shake out both legs. Awesome work. When you're ready, bend the knees, plant the feet on the ground, get a little bit wider than hip distance. And another round of windshield wipers, side to side. Legs are a little further than hip distance as we drop the knees over. Maybe you want to pause, take a few rounds of breath in each side. We are going to start to transition into our Shavasana, our final relaxation pose. If there are any other movements, stretches, any little rituals that you like to do to wrap up your practice, feel free to take those. Anything the body's craving. For me, I'm going to bring the feet together, let the knees drop open, find a reclined cobbler's pose, just another little counter stretch for those hips. But do whatever feels right for you, and then we're going to settle into our Shavasana, our final relaxation. So when you're ready, taking whatever that looks like for you. Could be traditional corpse pose on the back, legs extended, toes turned out, palms turned up. Since we got props with us, feel free to use those. Maybe sliding blocks underneath the knees, a bolster, a cushion underneath the knees, wrap yourself up in a blanket. If it doesn't feel awesome to be on your back, lie on the side, lie on your belly. You could even join me in a seated meditation. And even our final pose, our Shavasana, is an act of finding balance. Not quite physically, balance physically, but more mentally. To help to find that balance between surrendering the mind and the body to the present moment, and not surrendering so fully that we fall asleep, even though it's totally okay to fall asleep in Shavasana. I do it, plenty of people do it. Sometimes that's just what the body needs. But working to find that balance between rest and sleep. Giving ourselves the opportunity to practice mindful resting, not just distracting, not escapism, but intentionally giving the mind, the body, and the soul a chance to rest, to recoup, to restore. Very important part of, kind of helping to find and maintain a level of balance in our lives. So taking about a minute here to just settle into silence, settle into surrender. you do have more time to dedicate to your Shavasana, I suggest doing that, giving yourself as much time as you can carve out to continue this mindful rest and restore. Before we begin to move, just take a moment wherever you are to just offer yourself some gratitude for stepping on your mat, for your openness to explore, to work towards finding that balance in your practice and in your life. Just give yourself a little thanks. And as you feel ready, just gently start to bring some movement back into your body. You're starting with the fingertips and toes, working your way through the hands and wrists, feet and ankles. If you're lying down and not already there, gently shift onto one side of your body. Feel free to pause in this nurturing pose for as long as feels right for you. As you feel ready, making your way back up to a comfortable seat. And we will we'll end the way we began. We'll end the way we began. Release the hands down towards the ground. Inhale, send the arms out towards the side, reach them up towards the sky, bring hands into prayer, and exhale, prayer hands down to heart center. Stay here, take any other meaningful gesture with the hands. Thank you so much for allowing me into your homes today to share with you the gift of yoga, the magic of yoga. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I see you, I honor you, and I bow to you.